Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. The feeling around the Yankees for the past couple of days has been very reminiscent of this time last year when he underwent testing on his elbow and ended up missing a couple of months, but we kind of dodged a bullet last year because there was no structural damage. That does not appear to be the case this time. Per Jim Bowden, Gerrit Cole has been recommended to have Tommy John surgery, which would keep him out for all of 2025, probably about half or 3/4 of 2026. From the little bits of reporting that we have been getting, from the beat reporters and the people who are around the team who have spoken to Gerrit Cole, his mood has been very revealing. And a lot of us have had the sense of what is coming and have known what is coming for a while. What we're hearing is that he is awaiting a second opinion, but most likely he is going to have that Tommy John surgery. We were hearing about how concerned he seems to be, how concerned his teammates seem to be, and I don't blame you if you're taking this kind of rough, because this is a big blow to the Yankees' chances in 2025. The timeline of recovery for Tommy John is pretty much a year and a half, so I wouldn't expect him to return to the rotation until maybe, July, August next year at least. And I wouldn't expect him to get back to full strength until at least early 2027. The problem is he'll be 36 at that point. He turns 35 in September. So that will be, I believe, his age 37 season, or he'll be turning 37 that year. Look, we've been talking about winning in Gerrit Cole and Aaron Judge's prime. And I think what we're realizing now, a lot of us, is that last year's elbow injury marked the end of Gerrit Cole's prime. You never would have seen him put up four fingers to Rafi Devers before that. He gave us a valiant effort in the postseason. He dialed up the velocity to places that he had not been with any kind of consistency all year, especially during that fifth inning. High stress pitches. And in the back of your mind, you have to think, when he's at 30 plus pitches, high stress pitches, high velocity pitches, and there had been no mound visit. In fact, we might have even mentioned this on the postgame show after Game 5 of the World Series. Was that getting dangerous for Gerrit Cole? And ultimately, this spring, he only lasted 2 outings until the elbow reached its physical limit, at least according to Jim Bowden. So what now? Marcus Stroman definitely going to be elevated in the rotation. Now, he was expected to be traded possibly coming into spring training. He has now been elevated to the 4th spot in the rotation with the injuries to Gerrit Cole and Luis Gil. Will Warren likely going to make the rotation. Carlos Carrasco might get some starts, but he was 3-10 with a 5.64 ERA last season. This is not a guy who we should expect too much from. He might only be in there for a start or two. They're going to definitely go with Clark Schmidt the second trip through the rotation, but he's not going to be in the first trip through the rotation. Yankees number 6 prospect and their top pitching prospect, Chase Hampton, is out for the season. He's also getting Tommy John surgery. Their new top pitching prospect is Ben Hess, who was drafted last year. But I really haven't heard anything out of him at all. I haven't seen him in Major League camp. He didn't pitch in the minor leagues last year. So he's a totally mysterious cat to me right now. So the rotation, as of right now, looking a little bit more like a weakness than it was just a few weeks back. Now, there are some options for Brian Cashman if he wants to try and work his way out of this. Dylan Cease and our old friend Michael King are both rumored to be on the trade block from the San Diego Padres. The Padres have also been having some internal drama. Their ownership group and the basically the widow of Peter Seidler and the sons of Peter Seidler are going at it, trying to inherit the team. And that's kind of handcuffed the general manager, A.J. Preller, from being able to add at the level he usually does. He's a very aggressive general manager. So if you're Brian Cashman and you're already on the record as saying the team was incomplete and you just lost your ace and arguably your number 3 starter, your rookie of the year from last year, I think that the pressure is on. You're on the hot seat to do something. Maybe he can pick up the phone. Maybe while we're at it, we can pick up Luis Arraez, solve that DH and leadoff spot, 2 birds with 1 stone. I don't know. But I think if you're going to go down that road of making trades, you've waited to the point where they're really going to put you in a vice to give up prospects. I think that the Yankees are going to need to pick 1 or 2 guys that they need to hold on to, that they're determined to hold on to, whether that's George Lombard and Jason Dominguez. And even Dominguez has had his defensive, issues, which might make him even more available now. Spencer Jones could be somebody who gets dealt. He had made a great catch today. Alec Boehm is somebody that we've seen mentioned a few times. The Phillies were shopping him this winter. They asked the A's for Mason Miller, so the price is going to be astronomical. But, he's somebody that could help the offense a little bit. But as Brian Cashman likes to say, there's some heavy lifting to do. We do not know how long Luis Gil is going to be out, but it's at least going to be a couple of months. You can survive with Will Warren or someone like that, of that ilk, in your rotation for a couple of months, especially if Warren pitches the way he's been pitching in spring training. But you can't do a whole season with Carlos Carrasco, at this point in his career. You're going to need to figure it out. We know that Stroman's usually good till about June, so the pitching is going to thin out. We got to go out and get somebody. Whether it's Dylan Cease, whether it's Michael King, tough spot to be in. Let's go ahead and take a few comments. David Lawrence says, we just got to play our young guys. Well, who you want to play? Who do we have that can fill in for Gerrit Cole? We don't have a young guy who can fill in for Gerrit Cole. Unless Will Warren becomes insanely good. And I may have called him Adam Warren a couple times. Yankees fans who've been around a while will remember Adam Warren, staple of the bullpen for a while. So it's going to get some used to say Will Warren every time. AJ Chen says, how about trading for Sandy Alcantara? That's an interesting one. He is somebody who has been phenomenal in the past. I believe he won a Cy Young Award with the Marlins. I'm going to pull up his numbers. He is coming back from Tommy John surgery himself. And reportedly he's on an innings limit, which, I don't blame them. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. So you look at what he did back in 2022. He was 14-9, 228 2/3 innings pitched. And then 2023, 7-12 with a 4.14, probably dealing with some issues, missed all of last season, but coming back this year at age 29. When he's on, big swing and miss stuff, throws strikes, keeps the ball in the ballpark for the most part, won the Cy Young in 2022, finished top 10 in the MVP voting. Let's take a look at Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease last year, 14-11 with the San Diego Padres, 3.47 ERA, 189 in the third innings, 224 strikeouts. Always been a big-time strikeout pitcher, has a great fastball. So he's an option. Whether he's a realistic option, I don't know. Depends on what Brian Cashman's willing to part with. Let's talk about Michael King, who will be a free agent after the season. The Yankees traded him as part of the Juan Soto deal. You see, he had a fantastic year. 3 straight years with an ERA under 3, 2 of them with the Yankees. In 2023, he kind of finished out the season as a starter and had some really good games. I remember one in particular against the Blue Jays where he was phenomenal. And last year with the Padres, made 30 starts, appeared in 31 games, 173 and 2/3 innings, 201 strikeouts, 2.95 ERA, 4.2 WAR. And he's a guy who's going to command a nice contract. I could see if the Yankees were going to go after one of those guys, I could see him going after Mike King because they know Mike King. They are aware of his stuff. They helped turn him into what he is. So I see some people saying Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer, his career is over. There's a reason that teams haven't signed him. I know that he won his court case and so forth, but there was a lot of stuff that probably didn't get reported that's scaring other teams away. So his career is over. I mean, I just don't see any interest from any major league teams. His name hasn't been brought up 2 off seasons in a row at a time when everybody needs pitching and when he said he's willing to pitch for the minimum. So you have to just go on the assumption that his career is over. But anyway, this is just some tough news if you're a Yankees fan. 1,040 watching in the chat. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe if you're new here. We're here after every single Yankees game all season long as part of the Foul Territory Network. We got some voicemails that we can talk about. Go ahead and take some calls while we're on the air talking about Gerrit Cole. This first one is about Lombard.
Yes. Hi, Derek. Steve calling from Farmington, Maine. I don't think my last message went through, so I'm leaving it again. I got a bone to pick with you. The other day, I recommended trading Lombard Jr. for whoever we could get, pitcher, hitter, get us over the top. And I got the very humorous response of don't smoke crack. Well, I showed that to my wife. And now anytime she disagrees with me on anything, she says, put down the crack pipe. That's your fault. On a more serious matter, I'd like to modify that recommendation. How about if we could get Tucker from the Cubs for Lombard and, say, a couple of mid-level prospects? What would you do then? Would you do the job? Would you do the trade? Would you take it?
It's not about what I would do. I don't think that there's any way that the Cubs would make that deal. The Cubs just traded for Tucker because they're trying to win this year. Tucker, by the way, hit a home run today. I think that if you want Tucker, it's going to have to be either at the trade deadline with the Cubs out of it, which is unlikely, or signing him as a free agent. Those are the two ways it could go.
Joe, I really enjoy the show. Could somebody there tell me how
Joe.
A guy could have bad elbows at the end of season just passed, go through the entire winter with bad elbows, and show up at spring training with bad elbows? Who's in charge here? Thanks.
I agree with you that something is fishy about that entire situation. Our lineup has also been made somewhat light because we've lost Giancarlo Stanton. I feel like he should have had this addressed during the offseason. Apparently he was dealing with it towards the end of the year. It didn't look that way, the way he was swinging the bat in the playoffs. He was absolutely killing the ball. But he's a guy, somebody brought this up, he doesn't really follow through in the traditional way that a hitter will follow through. He almost swings the bat like an axe. And I could see how that type of swing, that direct to the ball swing, almost like like a lightsaber swing or something, I could see how that would affect, the tendons in your elbows and give you bicep issues, which he's had before. I feel like he should have addressed this in the offseason rather than waiting till a couple of weeks before camp. It does sound like they're, giving him the 3rd round of PRP injections tomorrow in New York. I don't know if there'll be a 4th. How many rounds do you need to do before you just say, hey, let's put this guy under the knife? And that's why I think some kind of a combination package that includes Luis Arraez makes more sense now. It didn't make sense when they had Giancarlo Stanton, right? Because then you would have had to put Luis Arraez in the field where he is not a good defender, really anywhere. So now you could just DH him. So I would love to see some kind of a package that brings Mike King and Luis Arise. You take on all the money. Maybe you give a Spencer Jones. Maybe you give a Roderick Arias. At this point, if you're serious about winning, there comes a time when you have to make the deal, right?
Hey, Derek, great show. Couple thoughts. Too bad Brett Gardner can't help out Jason Dominguez in the outfield, if possible. And also, as far as first base goes, we can't forget about the Japanese guy coming over in next year's free agent class, not just Vladdy. I forget the Japanese guy's name. I know
Munetaka
he
Murakami
plays third and first, big lefty bat. I forget his name, but I know his initials are M&M. He looks like he eats a lot of M&M. But anyway, thanks again for everything.
I'm going to look up his stats real quick. It's hard to spell his name. Minetaka Murakami. All right, so we're going to pull up his numbers here. Actually, I've got his reference open. I'll get to him, but he is somebody that we definitely need to consider. The only issue is that last year his numbers kind of took a dip. Let me go ahead and share my screen again so you guys can see his numbers. Now, he burst on the scene, had some huge power numbers, 56 home runs a couple of years ago in 2022. You see he also hit 318. But look at the last 2 years, 256 average and then 244 last year in Japan. He has hit over 30 home runs both times. He's got a good swing, but, you wonder what 180 strikeouts in Japan, which is what he had last year, translates to in America. He also had 105 walks and 851 OPS. 24 years old, so obviously, room for improvement. He can make some tweaks, but the raw power is there. He's one of those big, hairy monsters that Brian Cashman likes to talk about. So take another voicemail here.
Hey, Derek, great program. Frank from California. I don't see what the big deal of having a catcher lead off. I mean, that's just outside the box, just because we're stereotyping catcher. But Austin Wells, has a 380 on base percentage. Who cares if he plays freaking whatever position? And I think the Martian might be a bust. I hate to say it. It's like a swear. But he just looks like a bust. And Emerson Pereira's, man, on fire, and Cody Bellinger, God, this is awesome stuff. So go Yankees 2025. We got a great rotation. Keep Will Warren going. Stroh's looking good. Great show, Derek.
Appreciate it. Great thing about voicemails is I can take the time to put on my arthritis medicine while I listen to them on the show. That's why I always wear the gloves, but I'm not wearing them tonight because I was working out when I got the Gerrit Cole information. But look, there's a lot to unpack there. As far as the leadoff goes, it's unconventional to have your catcher be the leadoff. Austin Wells, though, is kind of an unconventional guy. He's got a really good eye. He steals some bags as a catcher. Not that you run very much in front of Aaron Judge. But, definitely interesting so far to see him getting a lot of reps at the leadoff spot. As far as Dominguez being a bust, it's too early to say that. As far as the defense goes, I am worried. But I think he's going to be an elite offensive player, so it might end up working out. But anyway, take another voicemail.
What's going on, Derek? Oh, man. I wasn't happy earlier seeing that Keel got hurt and Giancarlo with both his elbow injuries. Turn the page a couple days before the season still, and here we are again. Gerrit Cole, not looking good. Whatever happened to him, I know we didn't get an actual update on what the injury is, but it doesn't look good. Giancarlo Stanton.
So yeah, it's probably a little out of date there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just recap everybody who's joining the stream late because we haven't talked about it in just a bit. If you're just joining, Gerrit Cole has been recommended Tommy John surgery per Jim Bowden. He is one of the insiders. He's been an insider for a lot of places, but with the Foul Territory Network now. And I think we're going to have some definitive news on Gerrit Cole within the next 48 hours. He's going to make a decision. They're not going to want to prolong this thing. The only thing that this really does, other than weaken your rotation, is it puts the Yankees in a bind, in a poor negotiating position for a trade. They got a huge payroll, and it will absolutely be embarrassing to miss the playoffs again with this kind of payroll. You know Cashman doesn't want that to happen. You know Steinbrenner doesn't want that to happen. At least, you're at a point in the spring where you got a couple of weeks to worry about this. If this had happened on March 25th, 2 days before opening day, you'd have a much bigger problem. So at least we got a couple of weeks to work it out. But the bad news, Tommy John is probably, 100% for Gerrit Cole at this point. He's going to get the second opinion, but I wouldn't expect the second opinion to be much different than the first. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. You can get Pinstripe Territory on the go on all your favorite podcast platforms. We're here after every single game. We're going to do a post-game show tomorrow night. We're also going to do a post-game show on the 14th. At least that's my hope. It's Friday night. I'm getting a new computer on Thursday, and I'm trying to do the migration, and it might require just some tweaks. So if I have to miss the Friday show, I'll do something on Saturday or Sunday. But we're definitely going to be around for any news that happen, trade-wise over the next couple weeks and so forth as well. So like, subscribe, all that stuff. Once again, Gerrit Cole recommended Tommy John surgery and likely done for the year. I'll see you next time. Hey, while I've got you here, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Pinstripe Territory is the official Yankees podcast of the Foul Territory Network. We are home to the #1 most watched MLB postgame show on YouTube since 2021. We're here after every Yankees game and for reactions to all the best news and rumors during the offseason. Be a part of the show by calling into the voicemail 718-899-1068. Try to keep it clean for me. And if you ever miss us on YouTube, be sure and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go ahead and rate us 5 stars. It'll help other people find the show. Thanks for watching. See ya.